Hi. This week, I'm calling it calm. And it's the kind of calm that masters have, and we are masters. We can find this place of calm, and it's a particular kind of calm that I'm speaking about here that showed up. And from that place, life is lived in the present, where we can not be in duality and be able to see the lay of the land and make the next move in integrity. A friend was speaking to me who had got in touch with someone who they hadn't seen for quite a while. And being a very social being, this is so beautiful of her with all the connections that she makes and sees. And she shared with me that when they met, there was a clarity of, we aren't part of the same tribe anymore. This is not who I am anymore. This sense of clarity of knowing who you want to spend time with and who you do not want to spend time with. And it's a calmness, it's a knowing. It's not, I have to work at this, I've got to be productive here to see how I can be with it, all that. It was just this absolute knowing that this was not going to move forward, and it's fine. It's calm. It's not working for what you want it to be. And there is a real element in this week's session where the desire to fight, to go for, to have things happen in a certain way is not productive. So that balance that I'm talking about very much comes up in this element of where the spiritual and the earthly actually meet. It's almost like we come into this place and we have to find that balance point where we as individuals find where that lives for us, for each individual. All of these are very different in each individual as to how much earth they carry or how much of the spirit. And what was shown was that in a particular relationship, the being who was very here wanted the partner to meet it here, to have this be the truth. And it was kind of difficult because it was a stuckness that would not read into the being of the other partner. So what had happened in this case, because the other partner was more into holding the space to make it okay. So there's this element of making it okay. And then, because that still doesn't settle anything, they go to the next place to make it okay. And then they feel it's their job to make it okay, because if I make it okay, that's what eventually they will be okay, because if I make it okay, they'll find that place of okayness. Now that doesn't work, because what happens is the more you make it okay, the more they feel enabled to keep pushing you to make it okay. But what they want to make okay is that you say, I was wrong, I won't do it anymore, which is holding the other being in a place where they have no freedom to become and bring out who they are, which was last week's session, was very much bring it in, be very clear, and then bring out who you are, which is what the friend who I was speaking about definitely used the energy in that direction to get very clear. But it can also be, and I've been in this place of making things okay. And there's an arrogance in it. You're arrogant, thinking that when you make it okay and you can hold it together, that somehow you're spiritually advanced or something. No, I was an idiot. It's like, where do you get where that balance is met, where each understand each other, instead of continuing and allowing this okayness to take place? And it can be at a great cost. Now, this can happen on an unconscious level, where you feel that everything is okay and you trust everything is okay, but you don't actually check in to see if it's okay. And that happened with one of the people that I saw, and all of that okayness came crashing down, and it was noticed that they had been greatly taken advantage of. And when that finally hits home, and I've too gone through an experience like this, when it eventually hits home of what's going on, there's the possibility of this taking it in, not in denial, and finding this calm. And it's the kind of calm where there is no judgment, there is just what it is. And in that calmness, the best next step shows up. And many people now are meeting these places that they thought they would never come to or need to come to in so many different ways. And if you fight it, there's a tendency to go into victim status, and that is extremely damaging for your well-being and health. But when that calmness is there, you can actually see where things are and then be able to, as I said before, go to the next movement. Another being that had a similar sense of this calmness, because being overproductive and working for it and making it okay, and there is a sense of I'm doing the best I can, and but it's a sense of productivity that is also, you're working it rather than coming to a place where you're calm and it's just another day, and this is the next move that I make in this process. It's the ability to not constantly look into the future and see nothing but mountains that have to be climbed. And this being also was like, when did you feel, can you remember a time when you felt absolute calmness? And this calmness is what I see as what masters are able to do. They just go to this calmness. And it's deep, it's eternal, it's a calmness that nothing can disturb. It reaches that point of that incredible calmness. I wouldn't say a place of okayness, because it's okayness is a judgment, really. It's a deep calmness. And this being said, there was a time when I was actually losing a lot of blood, so I went to the doctors, and while in the reception, it just flooded. And of course the ambulance was called and all that sort of stuff, but she said, I've never felt so calm. There was a complete calmness in it. And we can bring that calmness, we can bring that up and be in that calmness. And then, instead of always working very, very hard at being productive and overcoming and all of that, it's the same thing as what we spoke about last week. In calmness, you just do the day. And then the next day, you end up being in this presence on a daily basis. And before you know it, that continuous being in that calmness, then whatever that mountain is, you've surpassed it. Because that calmness builds into a capacity that nothing can disturb. And when you have experiences that call that forth, it is an enormous gift that you can call on. And those who have experiences like that but didn't go calm missed a gift. It is such a gift. Another side of this was two beings that came who had had enough. They were white knuckling it and going, enough. It has to be this now because I've had enough. Which can be the moment before the calm. And in this case, it was realizing that when you go into that state, you have let what you have felt, you've put it outside of yourself. And when you actually gather and you feel that as a truth within yourself, then you can go calm and bring it out, because it's all that enough and I want this. Of course, externalizes when you see it and you feel the truth of it on the inside. It's then calm. And it doesn't have to happen right now. It can happen right now, but it doesn't have to happen right now. But in that space of calmness and being able to duplicate it in another circumstance, it could see how I can stand in that, how I can be calm in it, do whatever I'm capable of in that calmness and put it forward and hold a stand on it. And then see what goes on. And one particular being, and I found this particularly relevant for what we see happening around us. There was this energy, and what showed up, that the fight that was going on with this energy of enough was, I'm over the patriarchy. And the thing is that when you fight it, there's a fight in it, then it's all you do is perpetuating it. So when it saw that the relationship was actually a really good one, and if this energy continued, it would fracture that relationship, and then you'd have to make it okay that those differences are there in a destructive way, and then you have to work with it. It turns the relationship into work, rather than this sense of softening and speaking with a softness, with a heart that says, I understand where you're coming from, and I really appreciate what you're saying here. The way I'm seeing it, blah, 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 and where I can see it's this softness rather than I'm over it, I have nothing to do with it, I can see it again and there it is and I don't want nothing to do with it, is not the way forward. And finding that warmth and that balance this being felt that their relationship moving forward can be built on that calmness and that warmth instead of anger. And then it isn't about whether it's male or female. It's more about who cares about that. How do we, in our relationship, bring about who we are with warmth to work these things out, rather than giving it labels to fight. It's very important. And then, in fact, that calmness arrived, and she actually said, "You're right, and I can feel the difference. It's got nothing to do with anything. We're in a good place. Why bring struggle and fight into it out of a something that we've decided we're looking at?" And I'm not saying there aren't elements of that in the world, but it's better to go to self to see, how am I interacting with it? How am I in my warmth of sovereignty here, and allow them their warmth of sovereignty, because there is an equality in the process of that. And we make our choices out of that. So I hope some of that makes sense. So the card that came up, and it was one, and it almost jumped out. It was like, it's me, it's me. And it's balance. Balance, it says here balance is a state of being, but I would say it's even deeper than that. Not a fine line to tread. Be aware of all possibilities, for balance is not available to you when you are only working with one side of things. Hold your composure in the face of difficulties, and when you remember to breathe, balance is there for you. It's a sense of regulating your nervous system, and to be able to look out from that place, to look out from that, and all will shift within you so you can stay present in your life. So be interesting to see what happens during the week. Much love.